structures. The data structures are guarded by locks. It's a little deceptive because Bitcoin Core is like, in some ways is literally multi-threaded, but for many of the important operations it's not, because you're sort of contending for these locks. I'll talk a little bit about that later. A lot of the initialization stuff happens in a file called init.cpp, so if you want to look at that, you can see where all the threads are started, a lot of them. Peer-to-peer networking, in particular, is enabled by a select loop. So basically, we open a file descriptor for each peer that we're talking to, and we run the select loop over that to listen for read and write queues. Select may be replaced with poll someday, which is a little bit more of a verbose way of dealing with that. So like I was saying, basically all the changes to chain state, or the active chain, or the UTXO set are basically single-threaded, because they're all guarded by this one lock named CS main. So if you ever have three hours to kill, you can grab for CS main and check out all the places it's used. So next, let's talk about the particular threads that are involved here. So for the threads that we do run, there are a few like peripheral tasks that are taken care of asynchronously. So we do script verification using multiple threads. Basically, it's the minimum of either nproc or 16. We load blocks in a specific thread on startup. We service our PC calls, so we run a little HTTP server with 4 threads. We load peer addresses from DNS seeds on startup. We send and receive message to and from peers. We initialize network connections. We open added network connections after we start up. And we process messages that we receive from the network into kind of local state changes on our node. So we also run some threads for Tor control, for wallet notification. Does anybody not know what wallet notify and block notify do here? Oh, everybody knows. All right, cool. Well, they run commands based on certain events that happen, so that's cool. And we run this thing called the C-scheduler service queue, and it turns out that this sits behind something called the validation interface, which I'm going to talk about a bit later. And that's where we get most of the powerful asynchronicity